Hello everyone, my name is Parker Amelia and welcome to the Healthy Habitat podcast. Today I'm with Aidan Mills. He's from, Rochester, New York?
Yeah, give or take about 20 minutes outside of that.
20 minutes outside of Rochester. We're good friends, we're really good running buddies. We're just going to talk about his running history so far, what he's been up to with his running streak. So yeah, let's get into it. Aidan, how are you doing?
Good, how are you doing today, Parker?
I'm great. It's really warm in here, actually. It's like this GPH room is not the best. You had class this morning?
Yeah, I had public speaking this morning.
Oh, so you're like prepped right for this.
Oh, yeah.
Did you talk?
Yeah, I gave my persuasive speech.
Nice. What was it about?
It was about creating a separate division for transgender athletes to promote inclusivity and fairness to all athletes across the board. Because that's what athletics is about.
Right.
It's like including everyone and making sure everyone has an even playing field as much as possible.
For sure. I think this is actually a really good start. To preface this for the podcast, I didn't know that Aidan had done this, so I think this is a really good thing to jump into. So you feel that it's fair to have like a separate league for them?
Yeah, I feel like it's incredibly fair because you see I think it's University of Kentucky, a swimmer there who was assigned male at birth, now transitioned into female, is crushing all these records and everything. And there's been multiple complaints about athletes assigned female at birth who have stayed female about how it's just unfair competition. And we don't really want to exclude athletes because that's not what athletics is about.
Right.
And if we create a separate division for people who have transitioned from male to female, and then we create another division for people who transition from female to male, it will help alleviate all these problems that may arise for all these athletes.
Yeah, for sure.
Because athletics in the end is about having fun and making sure that everyone is as even playing field as possible. Because there's always going to be someone better than you most of the time. Yeah. But if it's like a biological difference, it's hard to explain how you can overcome that.
Right. And I mean, there's a reason that there's men and women's sports is because men are just biologically going to be faster and stronger. Yeah. And so if you start allowing these men that are biologically stronger and faster to play against women, even though they might have, less testosterone or however the hormones work, they're still going to have an advantage over the biological females. Yeah,
for sure. And the Olympic Committee requires them to take hormonal therapy, which is also most of the time not even covered by insurances. So they have to pay out of pocket, which is like up towards $500 a vial. Wow. And you fly through these vials. You have to take constant doses to reduce your testosterone if you're transitioning from male to female. And most high school athletes and collegiate athletes can't afford it. Right. So it's like, what are you supposed to do now?
Yeah, there's a lot going on there. Wow, really strong opening, to be honest.
Yeah.
I did not expect that. It's a really big thing in society. I mean, Leah Thompson is her name?
The University of Kentucky swimmer?
The swimmer, yeah.
I think so.
Okay. That's the one that I am most familiar with. Just they were assigned male at birth, right? Yep. And they were not in the top percent as a male, right?
Yeah. And then I understand transgender, she wanted to transition into female. I don't think anyone ever for transgender athletes, there's this notion going around that do you want to transfer so they can be successful in their sport? It's never that. Okay, it's never that.
Yeah, no, totally. I get that. And then, So, with that, I want to know about you.
Yeah.
When did you start running?
I started really getting into running modified year, so 7th grade of track. Before then, I was dibble-dabbling in running. It wasn't really a major thing. I'd run a few 5Ks here and there, but I really started getting excited about running. Beginning, grade. 7th grade.
Do you know your mile time around then?
No, I didn't really run the mile around then. I was still thinking of myself as, every young kid does, as some fast sprinter. But
you weren't focused on, times or anything like that?
No, I was focused on just trying to be the best out there.
For sure, yep. What about, you said you ran 5Ks. Do you know any of your 5K times? I mean, roughly, or if not, it's fine, but I was just...
When I was young, it was probably 23, 24 minutes.
It's better than my 5K now. That's crazy. So, you started at 23, 24-minute 5K. What's your 5K time now?
My PR from high school season is probably just 18 flat. I'm not a big distance runner, but it's respectable. Yeah. And then I ran only one 5K this past season, and it was like a 19:20. So
that's crazy. That's still... I ran a 6:13 mile recently, and that was my fastest mile. And then a 24-minute 5K. So you're much faster than me. That's awesome.
We all start from somewhere. Yeah. You just got to remember that.
Totally. So now you're in cross country, right?
Yeah, next weekend's our regional meet, and then after that, I'm probably only going to take 2 weeks off before I get right back in the indoor.
Nice. What do you run for miles? This like a week?
I'm starting to drop off a little bit because as it gets closer to championship season, don't really want to take on high mileage. Right. I was thinking about maybe going on a 5-6 mile run today, just to get stuff going.
You think a faster pace or slower?
Probably a little bit slower. Probably like 7-minute average, maybe.
Yep.
And then earlier, I think last week I probably had like 12, 13 miles. And then I peaked around 19, 20 miles this past season, which isn't really a lot compared to other people, but it's a lot for me being a mid-distance runner and not a distance runner. So
totally.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So when you go for a run, do you focus on miles? Do you focus on time?
I focus on mileage. I think if you focus on time too much, if you're on just a simple run, you focus on time too much, it's going to really consume a lot of your thoughts. And running should be a stress-free activity. And if you're worried about like going under a time just on a simple run, it's not as very stress-free.
Right. You're always just worrying about the next. Yeah, I get that. Yep. I find just running. I don't have a mile objective. I went on the run last night, and I just ran around campus. And it's just much easier to not worry about anything like that. I completely agree. Yeah. So you run. So you run some higher distance. What do you normally, like 3-4 miles is like a normal run for you?
Yeah, usually 4 miles is about the average loop I do.
Yep. Do you have a warm up and cool down?
Yeah. My warm up is about usually half mile to a mile. Then cool down's usually the same. Usually a half mile, more likely.
Is that included in the 4?
No. I count that separate.
Yep. So it's like a slower pace.
Yeah.
To warm up and then slower to cool down.
Yeah.
Yep.
Warm up is usually a little bit faster about what I'll take the run at, and then cool down is a lot slower.
Yeah, definitely. I get that. So when you were back home, what was your running situation like? Did you run on track or like trails or the road?
I usually road ran, and I usually road run to the track and then run around the track a couple times at my dad's house. And then I'd come back, road run back to my house, and maybe go up a few hills afterwards. At my mom's house, I'd usually just drive to the track, and if the hurdles were out, I'd do some hurdles and stuff like that.
That's awesome. What same type of runs there? A few miles.
Yeah, a few miles. Usually a bit more fast paced. It's a lot. Some of the spots are less hillier than it is here, but it's still nice. It really reminds me of home with all the fall weather going on right now.
Totally. Was the environment back there similar to Waterville?
Yeah, definitely. Got a couple crazy drivers, New York, known for that. But yeah, it was definitely the same environment. You got like the busy roads, and then you have like the back roads and everything. I didn't live in a city like Waterville. I mostly lived, it was a town off of a state route. It's a busy state route, so really running across it wasn't an option. So I usually drive to somewhere if I was at my mom's house. But if I was at my dad's house, it's more on the countryside. So I definitely would more likely to run anywhere more than drive anywhere.
Totally, yeah, that makes sense. Cool. Started running 7th grade.
Yep.
You've ran past, what does that make us, 6 years?
Yeah, give or take.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's 6
It's a long
years.
time. What's your favorite shoe?
I really like the On Clouds. That's what I've been using lately. I was a Hoka guy last year. It helped a lot. With me, what an issue's been all my running years is shin splints. That's always been my issue.
Yep.
I am notoriously known among my high school teammates to have loud, obnoxious feet when running, so they know when I'm coming up behind them. But yeah, I'm looking for the more cushiony. I used to run Pegasus a lot, at least like the 37s when those were first out.
Are those Nike?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my shins really didn't adapt well to that. It wasn't really enough cushion. For me personally, it has to be enough cushion to like support it, but it doesn't want to be too much that like it's weighing you down every single time you lift your foot off the ground. So yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. I have a Pegasus, maybe Pegasus. The Nike Pegasus somethings. I think they're a newer model, but I've had them for a few years.
Yeah.
I think it's time for me to get a new pair. I've had them a few years now, and I can start to feel my feet are just not working well.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting a new pair of trainers before indoor.
Totally.
I think I've reached the cap on my On Clouds because every single time I try to run, I'm really feeling the ground beneath my feet.
I love the Ons. They just look so nice.
Yeah.
And the first pair I tried on, they're so like soft. They're really nice and comfortable. So I want to know how you balance. You're in a relationship. You have a girl back home.
Yeah.
You're in school. You're studying education.
Yep.
You're an all-year runner.
Yeah, all 3 seasons.
Which is crazy. And you have friends. How do you balance all that?
Really what happens I'll start with the relationship part. My girlfriend's really supportive. When we were dating back in high school, she'd go to every single meet that she can, and she was super supportive of me running. And when I usually come home and stuff, we work out. Definitely over the summer we worked out a lot with the Planet Fitness free thing. So we'd go to the Planet Fitness and work out. So it really helps. We encourage each other's healthy lifestyles, that's for sure. And we're always supportive of each other. She's a soccer manager for her high school team, and she played in a couple of games this year. And I wish I was there, but I got to watch it on stream, though. So I tried my best with that.
That's what it is, doing it from a distance.
Yeah. Yep. And the relationship aspect, it's just nice to have someone always there for you, like other than your parents. Like, of course, you want your parents there and stuff. Yep. But if it's someone like you have a special connection with, like I have with my girlfriend, it's very nice. Yeah. It's refreshing for sure.
Do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I have 2 full and then 1 step.
Are they younger or older?
The step one is older, and the 2 full ones are younger. One's a sophomore this year, and one's a freshman.
Nice. You close with them?
Yeah, somewhat. My sister she's a runner. She's following the same footsteps as me. She does the same sports usually. She does volleyball and she does track. And then my brother is he's definitely a lacrosse player and golf kind of guy.
Yep, that's cool. So, relationship, school. How's your workload?
Workload it gets to me sometimes for sure. Being an education major, you have to really explore different aspects of everything. Specifically, I'm secondary ed, so high school, and you really have to explore like different teaching process methods. And I'm currently working on like a curriculum design map. Yep. It's kind of difficult, but if you can relate it to your own experiences from like high school or middle school or wherever you're teaching, like what level, it helps a lot because you can figure out like what you liked about it and what you didn't like about it.
That makes sense. Yeah. And then you start with your experience, and how you can work backwards and sort of find out how the teachers did it. Yeah. And then it gives you a good thing. Yeah, that's awesome. So, how do you feel that running takes up a lot of your schedule? I mean, obviously it does, but like, how do you squeeze that in there?
I feel like it takes up a decent chunk of my schedule, which is okay because I enjoy running most of the time if it's like decent weather out. Yep. If it's too hot, I don't really like running. I'd rather run in cold weather.
Totally.
But it takes up a decent amount of my time. I like to fit it in my schedule, though, for sure.
Yeah.
I kind of need to because being an athlete and everything.
Right. Mm-hmm. But
if I have downtime, usually during the day, like in between classes, I'll try to get as much homework done as possible. Yep. So it'll free up my afternoon. Like today I have a 4:15 class, like during practice, because practice starts at 4:15. So I'll probably run before then.
Yep, that makes sense. Just so you don't have to miss it and then not end up running at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Nice. What about runner's high? I've heard about it a lot. I don't know if I've like felt it. Have you?
Yeah, I usually feel it after like I'm done running my 8Ks usually, and after running 400 hurdles. It's a real thing.
Yep.
It definitely is a real thing. It is a out of body experience. I consider it. I have a love-hate relationship with it because it feels great, but after you come down from it, it's a very hard crash. You definitely feel extremely tired after it, at least in my experience.
You finish a race, you're all like hyped up, you got like, the adrenaline pumping, you're smiling, and then all of a sudden you're just like, oh, my legs, all tired.
Once the adrenaline stops pumping, then everything comes crashing down with it.
That makes sense, yeah. I totally know that feeling from when I ran my last 5K. I was so hyped. I sprinted past this guy and through the finish line. My dad was there, the one he was volunteering to collect the bibs. And then, I was so hyped. I was like, yes. And then got past, and then I just like crashed. I was like, boom. And I was just way out of breath and really tired.
Yeah.
But it's such a nice feeling.
It really is. I don't strive for it per se, but if I get it after I'm done running, it definitely is a benefit. It really helps me feel it's part of like the recovery process. I consider it because it's like right before your cool down and right before you stretch out and roll out and everything. So I feel like if you get it or if you get some kind of version of it, it helps you feel less painful during that process.
Yep.
So
that's awesome. I think just mentally, just being, like having like a positive mindset or something that like makes you excited to run is just going to keep you coming back to running every day or, however often you run.
For sure.
Just having a good experience with it, I think is great.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that 100%.
Where next? What do you want to run in college? You want to keep running all year?
Yeah. I'm extremely excited for outdoor because that's mostly what I'm here for is 400 hurdles, and it's not an indoor event, but it's an outdoor event. I'm extremely excited for that. But, yeah, I'm trying to keep in shape. For me, the transition from mostly endurance training to more speed training is going to be a little bit difficult for me. I'll probably experience some shin splints like I always do.
Totally.
Because there'll be more high power stuff and less like high mileage, which is okay. Being a mid-distance runner, you kind of get used to it after a while. So
what events do you run in indoor versus outdoor?
I'm probably going to look at the 600, the 400, and the 300 for indoor, and maybe the mile for indoor. And then for outdoor, I like to run the 800, 400, 400 hurdles, couple relays like 4x4 and 4x8. That's about it.
Nice. That's pretty cool. You said, what's your best event?
400 hurdles.
400 hurdles.
400 and the 400 hurdles is probably
crazy.
My best event.
What's your times for this?
400 hurdles, it's like 59.5, I think. And then 400, I've split a 50 flat before, 50 and a half. So.
That's crazy. 50 seconds to run a lap around the track. I couldn't. I think I'm at 145 for a 400. But I was running in a mile, so my splits were like 130, 145.
Yeah.
But it's going to take me a while to get there.
Yeah, for sure. You can definitely drop down. That's a good starting point. Mm-hmm. You always have to start with a benchmark at some point.
Yep. I've noticed I'm getting faster. All my runs are just, the times are much better than they used to be. I also noticed when I was skinnier, my mile times were higher, or my mile times were lower, mm-hmm. and then I bulked up a little bit, and they got higher, and then now I'm noticing that they're going back down, which is great.
Yeah.
I'm getting into the feel.
For me personally, I see more buff people, mm-hmm. people do sprinting events with power and stuff.
Yeah.
And then usually the distance runners are more lankier, kind of like my build, I guess. Mm-hmm. But I don't like running distance, so it's funny. It's funny how that works.
You're the exception.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I guess. Yeah, I'm the odd one out.
Right. What's I don't know if I asked your current mile time?
My current mile time? Last time I ran a mile competitively, it was about 5:10.
5:10.
It's not that good, but
I got a minute and 3 seconds on me.
I definitely want to get it down at some point,
mm-hmm.
but if it's not a main focus of my training, then I'm not going to try to stress it too much.
Right. If you don't run the mile per se. Yep.
Yeah. It really depends on what my coaches would like me to do.
Totally. Yep. What do you think about the coaches this year?
I love McDonough.
Mm-hmm.
Coach McDonough. I love her. And I love Coach Wilson's style of coaching. He definitely wants his athletes to compete at the best level they can.
Mm-hmm.
I've been used to that kind of style of coaching before. My high school cross-country coach, both of them actually really pushed me to be the best I can. So I think it's really refreshing having that ability to have two different styles of coaching.
Mm-hmm.
It's like getting the best of both worlds.
Totally. Yeah, I like that. I want to go back to when we first met. It was after early start, wasn't it?
Yeah, because I've been here since August 16th, I think, that week.
Yeah. I don't believe I saw you for early start.
Yeah, no.
And then it was right afterwards, I think.
Yeah, because I didn't really leave my room. I went to practice and then I came back to my room.
Mm-hmm.
I was by myself for a week before my roommate got here, Mitch.
Oh, yep.
He was an early start, so I was by myself for a week. It was a boring week. It was a really lonely week.
I'm sure.
But
just moved away from your family and your girlfriend. Did they come up with you when you moved in?
Yeah, my dad and stepmom and my girlfriend came up with me when I moved in.
That's cool. I'm sure there was a lot. And then I believe one of our first times hanging out, we went on a run, right?
Yeah.
And then that was a great run. That was 3-4 miles?
Yeah, it was around there.
You pushed me so hard. That was amazing. It's not even that you pushed me. You're just faster than me. And so I was just pushing myself to keep up with you. That was great. And then we made a protein shake after, right?
Yeah.
That was so fun. I introduced you to my roommate, and it was just a great time being able to do that with you.
It was. I actually saw a video recently. It was the only a main reason to get faster is you run around people who are faster than you.
Mm-hmm.
So they claim it's a biological thing that you see other people being faster than you, and it pushes you to be as better as them.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that.
Yep.
For sure. I mean, once you're at the top, you feel like no one can catch you, and it's more of an ego thing.
Right.
But if you're constantly having someone push you,
mm-hmm.
I think it's the best thing in the world.
Totally. If there's always somebody that you're now up against, whether you're friends or not, it's always, if you're gonna run faster than me, I'm not gonna run at my pace. I'm gonna try to run a little faster to make sure that we finish, relatively the same time. Yeah. I get that. I think it's great having people that are better than you always, just in anything. That's how you learn. I feel like if you're always surrounded by people that are worse than you, you're not gonna want to push yourself. You're not gonna go anywhere. And so having mentors and even people that are just the same as you,
mm-hmm.
I feel like that could be good too. If you're in the same boat, you guys can both push each other to get better.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Yeah. And I think that's why I am so excited for indoor and outdoor, because I feel like there's a lot of people in the similar field that I am.
Yep.
I know for sure Patrick is definitely in the same field as me. Zach could probably whoop me in a 200, but I would love to get my 200 down, so I'd definitely run with him. James is another one.
Yep.
I definitely want to run with him. He's pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Do you have a running buddy now? Do you run with anybody or?
I usually run with Patrick.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick's usually my running buddy. I I would love to run with Matt. Matt's a little bit, he's a little bit above me.
Matt Seymour?
Matt Shea.
Yeah.
He's a little bit above me. Owen and me usually run around the same times for 8Ks and stuff, and our workouts are usually at the same splits. So we usually run together on those.
Yep, that's cool. Do you run with music?
No.
Never?
No. My belief in that is if I can't hear, it puts me in like a race zone. So since I can't have music or anything while I race, I might as well practice how you play.
Right.
So, and plus it helps with like controlling your breathing because you can hear your breathing, you can hear your footsteps and everything. Yeah. So I think it helps with that.
That's good. I think that goes back to psychology. So I learned this when I was taking psych last year, is like state dependence. Like you perform in the state that you're in. I'm not explaining it right, but like if you're chewing gum when you study, you should chew gum when you're taking the test.
Yeah.
Because your brain just goes back to the state of you chewing gum when you're studying. And so I think it's like the same thing, you know, your brain is like alone when you're running for practice. And so it's going to be the same thing when you're running for a race.
I think it's called maintenance rehearsal.
Yep.
I'm not sure.
Yep.
I might need my psych teacher to quote me on that, but I think it's something to do with that. I remember learning about it this year.
That term sounds familiar, yeah. This was a few months ago, but I saw a thing that said Mark Zuckerberg doesn't run anymore because he gets lost in his thoughts too often. What do you think about that?
Especially around here, you can't really like get lost in your thoughts because there's a lot of people driving on the road, especially. But if you're trail running, like if you're trail running, I can see that. I can definitely see that. I've been trail running multiple times. I've definitely gotten lost in my thoughts. Yeah. Like I'd be just running. I look down on my watch. I'm like 4-5 miles. It hasn't even felt that long. Yeah. And it's just, I think it's a great thing. I think getting lost in your thoughts could be a good thing and a bad thing. It helps regulate like what you think. Yep. And it can really help you make decisions. Like people say sleep on it. Well, I say sleep on it and run on it. Like
that's good. That was one of the questions I had is like why you run. So you feel it helps you like get it out?
Yeah, it helps clear my mind and everything. And it helps with maintaining, like, put myself on a good path. Like, I wouldn't be here if I wasn't running.
Totally. I think that's great. I think it's super important to keep yourself on a good trajectory. And for you, that seems to be running. So I'm glad we're here.
Yeah. It's like a healthy addiction.
Yeah, exactly. You love running and you just keep at it.
Yeah.
That's great. Do you recover easily?
No. I usually feel it the day after I run. If like this past weekend I had an 8K for NAX, and I definitely felt it the next day. It was difficult. It was a difficult course. We were up at Umpy. It was definitely hilly and everything, and the weather wasn't really cooperative with everything. But recovery is extremely important. It's almost as important as training, I believe. Because if you're not recovering correctly and then you expect yourself to run at the highest level that you can, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, right. I definitely don't stress enough the importance of recovery for myself. I don't do any recovery protocol, to be honest. You know, most of the time I don't cool down. Most of the time I don't warm up. Yeah. And then after that, I don't even like stretch or anything, to be honest.
Yeah. I think it's hard to build a habit around warming up and cooling down, because sometimes I find myself not doing that either, especially the cool down part. But definitely I've tried to make it a focal point in my recovery, trying to roll out and everything because it helps. Also ice baths really help. Love them so much.
Don't even get me started.
I feel so great afterwards. I feel like light and bouncy and everything. So I think recovery is almost as important as training.
Do you do ice baths here?
Yeah.
So after you run, you take an ice bath?
Yeah, most likely after I have a workout or anything, or the day before a meet. I definitely do an ice bath. Shout out to the training staff here at Thomas College. I'm a frequent visitor down there.
It's such a nice. I've done a few at my house. Actually, for anybody watching, there's a few on my YouTube channel. Such a nice feeling being in the ice. You know, it's I don't really know that I exactly know the feeling of runner's high, but I would attribute it to like the same type of feeling. You get in the water, you're just like ecstatic. Like for me, it just puts a smile on my face.
Yeah.
Like instantly. It's like, oh, it's such a good feeling.
Yeah, you get like it's the shock for the first 30 seconds, but after that, you're used to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm more of a cold water guy.
Yep.
I like a lot of cold stuff more than hot stuff. So for me, it's like the colder the ice bath, the better.
Totally.
So.
Yeah, like if you're gonna do it, you might as well do it as cold as it can be.
Yeah.
I envy so much the guys that have the ice baths that do it, in like the winter when it's like frozen over, and like I just watched the video, the guy chucked a dumbbell in his ice bath, and then jumped in for a few minutes. Such a nice thing. I need to get on that more, but since I'm not on track, I can't do that at the moment. You take cold showers?
Yeah, I've recently made it a focal point every single time I take a shower.
Mm-hmm.
For the last minute to 2 minutes is just cold.
Good.
Straight up cold.
Good.
Everything else is hot to get muscle relaxation and everything, but cold is mostly important for recovery.
I think that balance is good. I find myself, especially as it gets colder here.
Yeah.
Starting, I woke up a few days ago just freezing, and I was like, I'm gonna jump in a warm shower, so the water was warm, and then near the end of it, I was like, okay, I'm warm now. I can finish cold. And normally for every shower, no matter what, I'll finish cold at least, just to get my mood up.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's always just a mood booster.
Yeah, I feel so much more happier and so much more relieved after I've implemented the cold shower routine into it. Speaking of cold, it is practically blizzarding back at home for me.
Really?
So yeah, my
Jeez.
Girlfriend sent me a video of what it looked like this morning. It was snowing pretty hard. So
That's crazy. I know Sugarloaf Mountain in Maine got snow, which is exciting. Do you ski or snowboard?
I used to.
Yep.
I don't anymore. I really want to get back into it though.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna try to get back into it. I know my dad and mom were big skiers growing up, so
That's cool. That's awesome. I have a lot of family in Jersey that skis. My sister skis, some of my cousins ski, so we're doing a lot.
Yeah.
We're planning to do a lot this winter, and I just bought new skis actually.
Oh, nice.
Yep. Last week I got a pair, so I'm excited for that. Do you so you run during the warm months? What else do you do? Anything? Actually, you run during the winter too.
Yeah.
Any other stuff? You lift for track, right?
Yeah, I lift when I have to for track.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like lifting, but I need to start lifting more because it helps with strength and conditioning for sure.
Yep.
I made that a focal point this past summer too. I mostly focused on my legs and everything, and focused on practically all the muscle groups. I was in the gym most of every single day this past summer.
That's great. Playing it with your girlfriend?
Yeah, most of the time. If she couldn't go, I'd just go by myself. So.
Right. Yeah. Do you have any friends? Do you have a lot of friends back home that run?
Yeah, I have a few friends that back home that run. My friend who is now on his mission for he's a Mormon, so he's on his 2-year-long mission. He's in Peru. Me and him worked our summer job together. I'd go work out with him sometimes, and we'd go for a run sometimes. So it was definitely helpful having him around. Yeah. It's going to suck. I won't be able to see him for 2 years, but when he gets back, it's probably going to be – I'm so excited for when he gets back.
That's really cool. During the summer, I have my sister and her boyfriend are both – my sister's a runner all year. Mm-hmm. She's a junior in high school, and so we would run all the time. Not as much recently, but a lot, like a year or two ago. And then her boyfriend was a big lifter, and he wanted to get into running, and so he motivated me a lot to run this summer. Mm-hmm. He'd just be like, "Yo, come over, let's go for a run," and so I found us often going for multiple mile runs, which was sort of out of the ordinary for me.
Yeah, and it was nice. I like to play basketball in my free time too, so it's nice to mix it up every once in a while.
Definitely,
I'm still getting cardio in, but I'm also getting cardio in a different way and playing basketball with people who might not want to run.
Totally. So. Me and him, there was a few times where he would just come over, we would edit videos, and then we played soccer just in my backyard a few times, which is so much fun. I find myself running short runs, like 1 to 2 miles. What do you think of that? Do you prefer distance over speed, or
if you're doing the shorter mile runs, I definitely think that it should be a little bit more faster than the longer mile ones. For the longer mile ones, you really want to be consistent throughout your mileage, like your pacing throughout.
Yep.
I think that's important because you can't just go like 7 flat 1 mile and then the next one you drop down to like 8:30.
Right.
It's like you need consistency throughout it. So I think that having the nice balance between like a normal / long run and then a shorter run is a nice thing to have because you can get your speed up while also getting your mileage up.
Yep.
And then you can also work on the longer endurance part of it.
Totally. That's great. I think as a consequence of doing shorter runs, I can't pace myself. I've noticed that on my longer runs, my splits are like way off because I don't have that pacing. You know, I'll start off fast and then I'm tired, so I do a mile or two slow.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, well, here we are.
Yeah.
And then I'll negative split like the last like quarter mile or something as I'm running back, which I guess may be typical anyway, but still it's very inconsistent, which I think just having that balance is something I need to work on.
Yeah, definitely. I think running is more mentally tough than it is physically tough sometimes, especially if you're by yourself. Like if you need to pace by yourself, it takes a lot of mental energy to do that.
Totally. I think I completely agree with the point that it's mental. I often find myself having a debate in my head over when I'm going to stop. And so, you know, I'll go like a mile and I'm like, I'm going to be done soon. And then I'm like, okay, well, just like one more lap or something. And then, you know, one lap, I'm like, I can do one more, so why not?
Yeah.
And one of the runs I was at near my gym, there was this woman outside, and she was like, you're going again? And I was like, yeah, and I'll do one more just for you. And so I was like, you know, before I got to where I was going to finish up, and then, you know, I hit her, and then I just had to do another one around. And so it was great.
Yeah. I think having something to push yourself or something to think about while you're running is definitely, like, it helps you a lot.
Totally.
And for longer runs, since you're not, like, racing, I think definitely music will help.
Yeah.
I heard that, like, maybe it's 160 beats per minute. It's, like, prime.
Yeah.
Like, it helps syncopate your footsteps while running.
Huh. That's awesome. Wow. What about podcasts?
Podcasts?
Do you listen to podcasts?
No,
you
not
don't listen
really.
to music anyway, but
I'm a big music listener.
Yep.
I actually got told last week by Henry that my music knowledge is really impressive. So, yeah, I'm a big music listener. I'm big on music for warm-ups. Like, every single time before I run, I start with, like, R&B on the, like, chill music all the way up until probably, like, 30 minutes out, which is more, like, I get into the higher tempo, more beat per minute music.
Totally. That's great. I think it might be something I need to work on, tempo, like with music. I don't choose a tempo. I kind of just choose, like, music. Something... I go with, like, the older style music, to be honest. That just gets me hyped no matter what. Maybe some Kanye. I was running to Kanye last night. And then podcast. I went on a 4.5 mile run recently, and I just listened to a podcast, and it was great. It was Brent Faiyaz. It wasn't even a podcast. His new album.
I love Brent Faiyaz.
Brent Faiyaz, yeah, it was great. And I was just running to that, and it was a nice feeling.
Yeah, I love Brent Faiyaz so much.
Yeah, that's one of the ones for me that I listen to a lot.
I definitely think that being an athlete, putting your mental health first before your physical health is important sometimes, because if you're just constantly down on yourself and you want big things from you, it's not going to happen.
Right.
Because it all starts with mindset. And if you have a winner's mindset, then you are most likely going to be a winner.
Totally. I think that's great. I've found myself in, like, a small rut at the moment, trying to, pick myself up with this, trying to balance, or, like, trying to get off social media. I'm addicted at the moment. It's hard. And so it's definitely just, there's the positive things, like, this and running and having good habits are definitely helping me with it, get out of that.
Yeah, for sure. I think definitely moving away from home helped me alleviate people from my life that really weren't necessary, I guess, and wasn't good for me. And that helped a lot because I don't have to see them unless I go home.
Exactly.
And I probably won't see them unless I make an effort to see them, so it works out.
Yep.
I think social media is a good thing and a bad thing. You can get a lot of tips and tricks from running on there and stuff, but there's definitely a toxic side to it for sure. And having an addiction to social media, it sucks. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
For me personally, sometimes I have to be on social media because I have to talk to people back home and stuff. Yeah. But most of the time, I like to be off of it.
Good.
I play like 2K in the meantime or something like that, or do homework or read sometimes. Yeah. So,
do you have any authors or specific books that you read, or?
I like to read up on history.
Oh,
I'll go on Wikipedia and just look.
That's really cool. I have a friend like that. He just learns about like ancient history and stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah, being a history major, it's definitely important. I also like. When I was back home, I'd watch Jeopardy with my dad and stuff. So I'm pretty good at trivia because of that.
Yeah.
And I just really know a lot of random stuff.
That's awesome.
So,
I love that. I think my final question for you, do you run for a purpose?
I definitely run for a purpose. I run because it helps me keep in good shape, mentally and physically.
Yep.
I run because it's a good pastime. It helps me keep on a straight path in life. I definitely straight path of life because back home there's people that just didn't do anything with their life, and I really feel bad for them sometimes. Yep. But sometimes it's self-inflicted.
Yeah.
So it's totally. Like what goes around comes around.
Right.
Running for a purpose is very important to me. Part of my pre-race ritual is like kissing my necklace because it's got my girlfriend's first letter on it. And if you run for a purpose, you will see better results. I feel like if you're just running to running, it's hard to have a goal in mind if you don't have anywhere you would like to go with it. And for me, I set high aspirations for myself. Like I want to be top in the NAC. I want to be almost an All-American for everything.
Yeah.
For mostly 400 hurdles. It's just having a very high mindset and having a very good purpose. It will help you achieve better results, and it will help you feel good about yourself for sure. And I definitely think running for a purpose, or anything for a purpose for that matter, is important.
Totally. So just get a real reason to do something like a really high up reason that you want to keep doing something. Great.
Yeah.
If you had one tip to an aspiring runner, what would it be?
I would be start small.
Yep.
Don't push yourself like beyond your limits. If you feel like you hit your limit, don't push yourself because you're not really there yet.
Right. Don't want to get injured.
Yes.
Yep.
The more experienced you are, the more you can definitely tell if you can go a little bit beyond your limit or not. Listen to your body for sure. For me, I my early years of running, I typically ignored my injuries, and they would come back and haunt me.
Yep.
So for sure, listen to your body. If something doesn't feel right, take care of it. Because I've had a stress fracture in my foot before because I didn't take care of it, and it put me out for the rest of the season. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Aidan Mills, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, this was a lot of fun. Everyone, my name is Parker D'Amelia. This has been Podcast with Aidan Mills on running and his schedule and just about everything involving running. You can find me just about everywhere, Parker.D'Amelia on socials, Healthy Habitat on Spotify. Aidan, do you have any social media you want to shout out anybody back home or anything?
I'd like to shout out my girlfriend, Ariana Yotis. And I would like to shout out all my high school teammates, Hayden Hillen, Michael Prentice, Ian Johnson, and John Mann. You guys are the GOATs. I love you guys, and I miss you guys so much. And definitely, when I come home for Thanksgiving and Christmas, let's try to get something planned out for running for sure.
Aidan, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Have a good day, guys.
Have a great day.